Good morning to everybody on these YouTube streets. I am Mrs. Bestie. We are here to go over The Valley Season 3, Episode 7. The episode was titled Triggers. It's something else I don't have it in front of me right now. I apologize, y'all. Also, I was supposed to have this review out and completed it up on YouTube on Thursday. Today is Sunday. It's been a busy week, but better late than never. Let's welcome in everybody who is new to the channel. Also want to welcome in all of our new subscribers, existing subscribers, and anybody watching and supporting. You are definitely appreciated. This episode was a lot. I've been bored the whole season of The Valley, if I'm being entirely honest, but this episode gave something, thank God, because it's a snooze fest. Definitely a snooze fest, but I'm kind of disappointed to see that this episode was interesting because Danny is acting a doggone fool. We defended you against Voldemort and her pet, and now look at how you behave. I just can't understand why Danny is doing what Danny is doing. But before we get into the review, you guys tap into the links to the description of this video. There are other great creators that are in the links that you can check out. Some of them cover this show, some of them do not, but there's lots of great things that you could check out from all creators. So support each other. But we're going to start this episode. It starts with the group in San Diego. They have been in San Diego because Michelle is out there to kind of connect with memories to her mom and her childhood. I know the last review I did last week, I did not mention the end of the show just because it was Michelle and Lala kind of on a beach speaking about death. There's a lot of people grieving. Stuff like that can be triggering, so I didn't want to bring it up on my channel. But I do empathize with Michelle and Lala. I can't imagine what it's like to lose a parent. But on a lighter note, they're still at this amusement park, Belmont something. I'm not from San Diego. I've been several times, but not from there. Usually there for work. So I did not know they had little mini amusement parks. I just knew of the zoo. But the group ends up going to a sports bar after they ride all the rides and all of those things. And everybody comes in. Michelle is late, even though it's her trip. She's late. She comes in and she sees that there's only a seat available either across from Lacey, who is Jesse, Michelle's ex-husband's new girlfriend, or sitting right next to Lacey. Michelle not trying to sit next to Lacey because of that whole debacle that happened last season and that they discussed at the reunion last season about Lacey sending legal paperwork to Michelle saying not to speak on her with the cameras and all of these things. I don't blame Michelle in this instant for being difficult. Normally with Jesse, I feel like Michelle be doing too much. But with the situation with Lacey, if you threaten me with court, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. I don't want anything. You're coming at me in court. Also, Lacey is a mother. So if you really wanted peace with Michelle while Lacey's trying to play innocent on this show, then you wouldn't have sent documents. So I don't blame her. I don't. And I'm surprised at the Bravo production people for allowing Lacey to be on this show when she has threatened to sue members of the existing cast. Also, I don't think she really likes Jesse and kind of feel like she's just dating him so that she could have a way to be on TV because she has money. She don't need that. She could pull a man. She's not struggling with that. Her daughter's okay. She has her child. I think she just might want to be famous just a little bit. Let me know how you guys feel about Lacey thus far, but as it relates with Lacey and Michelle, it's too much. But at the table, everything's going okay. Danny is taking shots, which I'm like, oh Lord, if Danny's taking shots, something's going to happen. Listen, what Janet said was not okay about Danny because it had nothing to do with her. She was just repeating something to be messy. However, I'm not going to sit here and deny the fact that when Danny drinks, he does become obnoxious. You could see it through the TV. I'd be uncomfortable through the TV watching it. If you don't know how to drink without being obnoxious, or if drinking changes you to points where you're intolerable, then don't fucking drink. I don't understand why people make it seem as though they have to drink. I don't get that. Like, I recently stopped drinking. Well, not recently. I haven't had alcohol in like pretty much this year. Haven't really drank, but I get it. Socially, it can be difficult, but you could say no. You can order a mocktail. I think Lala's a good example. She's sober. So that's just my opinion on that. But Kristen don't feel well and she wants to go home. I'm like, okay, Kristen, then go. But Kristen is postpartum. Kristen is also Kristen. So she's difficult and snaps at the closest people to her when she's frustrated or going through something. And she tells Luke she wants to go home. And when she tells him, he's like, oh, I get it. She's like, oh, my body, I'm just going through this. He's like, I mean, yeah, your body's been through a lot. You gave birth to our daughter. And she asked him when he's like being supportive, she's like, are you just saying that because you're mic'd right now for the show? I said, Kristen, girl, you're not with Sandoval anymore. He's not just saying it because he's mic'd for the show. And that dude that she dated after Sandoval that she was with for a long time, the one she bought her house and then had to sell her house for, you're not with him anymore. You're with the man that works, takes care of himself. I think that Kristen is extremely relatable this season. One, because of the postpartum. And two, I feel like a lot of people go through what she's going through in relationships, especially women, where you deal with a lot of bad in a relationship, regardless of what, though. Sometimes you project what you went through with your ex onto your next. And I feel like Kristen is doing that with Luke a little bit, unless there's something about him we don't know. But instead of asking if someone's being kind to you just because a camera is present or a microphone is on them, maybe just take in the moment. I think Kristen gets in her own way, but she ends up flipping out on Luke. And then she flips out on everybody on the cast because she says she wants to leave, but then she stood around instead of just leaving. So naturally, you see your friends having a problem. Most of this cast are mothers. They know that Kristen's a new mom. Brittany got up to check on her. Zach got up to check on her. She snapped at both of them. Like, why are you checking on me? I said, oh, girl, that's postpartum. Take your ass home where you are not a danger to anybody else. Like, postpartum is something that does impact women. PMS, all of these different things. She's on, sounds like her first period after giving birth, which is difficult for her. She says she's wearing diapers. I empathize with all of that, but it doesn't give her the right to snap at people. It doesn't. I think people have to understand the difference between having an actual legitimate mental health crisis or diagnosis in a moment of being triggered versus that moment being acknowledged and people not like maybe attacking you for it, but you can still be held accountable for it. Regardless of what you're going through, nothing gives you the right to mistreat other people. I think that Kristen knows that. She just has to practice figuring that out in real time, but she'll be okay. Eventually she takes her happy ass home, and Luke stayed behind, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't have went with her either. You snapping at me, snapping at friends for nothing at all. Go in the bush and weep. Okay, Kristen, go in the goddamn bush and weep. Lord, but I do hope she feels better. I respect her for getting on camera after having a baby and sharing this. And it's just an example of what you can go through having babies later in life. I feel like it's harder on women the older they get because you just get to that point where you're adjusted and probably have to, restart. But I have seen, like this morning on Facebook, that Kristen, I believe, is partnered with, I think it's called Fridays. I think it's for like weight loss, GLPs, things like that. I respect her for doing things like that, and I wish her the best. But after she leaves, Lala starts to notice that Danny is noticeably drunk, and it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. But Michelle ends up yawning at the table because obviously they've been out all day running around an amusement park. These people have day jobs as well. They're tired. So Michelle yawns and Danny is drunk. He said, oh, you better not yawn. They'll call you an alcoholic. Y'all ever heard the term drunken mind and sober thoughts? That is Danny right now. He's been made it clear when he's sober, he's not interested in talking or making a relationship with Janet and Jason. But I think it's very clear they deeply impacted him by the fact that Michelle yawned. She's been very close with him, has not sided with anybody, but she hasn't defended Danny and Nia at all as friends. And I feel like that has bothered Danny because you just gonna say that randomly because she yawned. And nobody said anything to it. They just kind of looked like, okay, but drunk or not, he had a point. You yawn and you might be called an alcoholic. But also, to be fair, Danny, if I was accused of being an alcoholic on the show, I would never get drunk again. I play it cute, get tipsy. I would never get drunk again. If somebody is looking for a problem, don't give them one unless you're ready to fight. That's how I operate life. But Danny's different. Everybody eventually leaves this restaurant. but who stays behind is Janet, Jason, Jesse, and Lacey. I said, okay, we have 4 narcissistic sociopaths sitting together. We do, because Jesse is refusing to give Michelle a divorce, even though we've learned that she agreed to give him everything and stop fighting, which makes no sense. And Lacey says she didn't want to be on the show, threatened people with legal action, and doesn't understand why people don't like her. And Janet said that Danny is a SA, a PDF, and all these crazy things. Okay. And also alleged that he is an alcoholic and that he doesn't understand boundaries, that he's a bad husband, that he's dangerous and not to be trusted. But then played victim as to not understanding why people are upset with her. So we got a table full of narcissistic ass sociopaths that are skilled at gaslighting. Okay. That's what we got. And I'm like, what the hell could these people have a problem with? So it turns out that Lacey has Janet blocked. And the reason why is because Lacey feels like Janet treated her wrong for no apparent reason. And Lacey said that she never sent a cease and desist or any form of legal paperwork to Janet. She says she sent that paperwork to Michelle. And I just don't understand why Janet went and told the group that it was like everybody being threatened when it was just one person. She kind of took something that was Michelle's problem and made it into her problem to make her a victim. This is why people do not like you, Janet. You are not the lawyer that your husband is. You're not that smart. You're doing a very bad job at being a mean girl. We see all of your edges, all of your weaves. We see everything about you. You are vile and nasty and despicable and need to figure it out. Because Janet really be thinking she's slick. But Janet tries to lie her way through everything that Lacey is accusing her of, such as the documents, the receipts, the shit talking, all of that. Lacey came at Janet with receipts and text messages. And when she started to drop receipts, Janet laughed at her and said, well, you've tried out for Housewives so many times. Who cares? I would assume that every person on reality TV has tried out for reality TV a couple of times across a couple of different networks and shows before they land one. That's what I've noticed. A good example would be the recent season of Temptation Island on Netflix. I don't know if any of you guys watched that, as well as Age of Attraction. I reviewed that. There was a couple of people on each of those shows who admitted to trying out for different reality shows. A lot of people, for example, I Love the Challenge. We see a lot of challenge players on Are You the One, Love Island. They come from Big Brother. Like a lot of people like will make reality TV a career. So I'm looking and I'm like, that's not an insult, Miss Janet, but okay. I just feel like Janet is mean and didn't like that she was called out. So Janet then, instead of admitting she's wrong when presented with receipts, says that she just wants to have a good weekend. I said, I know this bitch is lying. Don't you just want to have a good weekend after you called out on all your bullshit? You sit here with Danny and Nia and gaslight them, as well as Kristen, when they call out stuff because they don't have active receipts or are not willing to share them. Lacey don't know you like that and don't give a flying fuck. So she said, here's the receipt, and was holding the phone up. Janet walked away. I said, oh, Lord. Janet, apologize. If you're not going to apologize, then be accountable and said, yes, I did that because I thought it was weird. But Janet is a scary ass bitch that ain't had her ass whooped right. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you're going to be this mean and condescending and manipulative with your friend group, then bitch, you better have the balls as big as your audacity. That's just how I feel. If you're going to come at people about stuff that's sensitive to their life, if you're going to get at people and try to ruin their relationship publicly on a show, you better stand in it and be as tough as you was when you was talking that shit. Because Janet likes to do a lot and then run and cry, which I don't understand. I don't. But they end up leaving because Janet walked out. I do understand why Lacey was upset. Well, I do not understand why Lacey got upset because Jesse did start to chime in when Janet walked away. He was like, this is why none of your friends accept your apologies, because you apologize like this. This is not acceptable. Like, you're not acknowledging anything. You just want to move past it. But Jesse was kind of yelling at Janet as she was leaving the restaurant, and Lacey did not like that. Lacey's thing is she's a big girl. She can defend herself. My thing is, bitch, you're full of shit. You don't like this man and you don't want him defending you because in his mind, he's going to use that against you later. I think Lacey knows exactly how Jesse is. I think he is exactly the same with Lacey as he was with Michelle. But I think that Lacey is smarter than Michelle because she's not letting herself fall for this man's shenanigans. She's just not. But I also think that shows how fake she is, because who gets mad at their man for defending them? You want your person to defend you. You're mad about that? He's also her friend. Jesse's known Janet separate from Lacey, so they can have that banter. It's not like he's just arguing with a random woman. I don't know. I can't read Lacey right. Let me know if y'all feel differently, but I'm just like, girl, the things you choose to get mad over are strange. Very, very strange. But Jesse's a fool. Like, if he can't see this girl don't like him for real, then I don't know what to do about it. So, oh well. But we see Zach and Luke have a good talk later on in the episode. I thought it was nice. I'm starting to notice that Zach is a great friend. Zach is a little annoying. Zach can be messy. But as it relates to this show, regardless of what's going on, Zach is always willing to talk stuff out with people, which is good for reality TV and for friendship. He defends his friends like no other. He stood and stuck beside Danny, Nia, Kristen, and Luke against these people in season 1 when Kristen was beefing with Michelle and Jesse. Zach also had her back. So Zach is a good friend. And I like that he embraces the spouses of his friends. That's something I try to do with my friends, even though they date like they're fucking retarded. I still try to be respectful to my friends' partners because I want them to be happy. And if I could get along with these people, it works out for all of us in the long run, right? But they had a talk. I appreciate Luke for being open about being a new dad and his struggles. I think that Kristen and Luke need individual therapists as well as a couples counselor. I think they're lucky to have friends like Zach around them, as well as the friend group they have that's been through what they've been through. But I definitely think Kristen is one of those women who might need medication or something more to help her through her postpartum. She seems to really be having a hard time. I've also heard, because I have a friend who's a nurse, and she was saying that women who have babies older in age, which Kristen was a geriatric pregnancy, do struggle more with the adjustment and sometimes with postpartum. So I wish them the best. I'm not going to go over the conversation too much, but I wish them the best. And I'm glad that Luke was open and Zach was supportive. But everybody is downstairs in the house, and Brittany asked to discuss the issues between Michelle and Lacey. Brittany's a messy, misshaped bitch. I don't like Brittany. She's shaped funny and she's messy and she wants to have a mommy makeover, but she's not going to have a skinny neck because she's in a shortcut. A lot Brittany can do. Go on a GLP-1. Get your hormones in order or something. Like, there's a lot. Eat right, because we see Brittany eating fast food. She eats like she's from Kentucky. I'm sorry, she do. And it reflects. Like, I don't like how messy Brittany be with her friends. She'll start a lot of shit and then be like, well, I just wanted y'all to get along, you know. And then when people call out her bullshit and how she starts shit, she'll, well, I don't want to be involved no more. I'm tired of being put in the middle. I don't want to go through this. I'm sick of Brittany. We don't need her on this show and she can go. Or let's keep it real. I'm not trying to be mean, but without Jax, I don't see a star factor in Brittany at all. I feel like everybody on reality TV has this thing where they're either going to be interesting without their partner and can carry on their own, or they're not. We've never been interested in Brittany. She was forced on us because Jax got with her. And then we laughed at her on Vanderpump Rules from the time she got on there to the time that her and Jax were kicked off of VPR. Why? Because she was fucking stupid and we couldn't understand why she was with him. She had to beg for a job at SIR. She didn't have any work experience or life experience. And then she was a pick-me bitch that was willing to get a massive boob job of a size of titty she did not work just to appease a man living in a fucking apartment who couldn't even afford to do nothing for her. Which we now know to be true, because as they're getting out of the marriage, we learned that she was the one that was primarily the financial breadwinner and the responsible one financially. So I don't like Brittany. I just had to explain why. That's my TED Talk. But she started some shit downstairs by asking to discuss Michelle and Lacey's issues, which was also her overstepping. This isn't just like an X around their like X's in their necks. Like this is like these people are actively in court litigating a divorce. There's a child involved. A lot is happening. I don't think it's her place to try and facilitate a conversation between a new bitch that ain't been around that long and Michelle. Look at Michelle and Aaron. She had him all around these people, moved in. Now she not with him at all. So I just felt like Brittany was wrong to facilitate that conversation, and it went to hell. Now, Lacey says that she only sent Michelle a cease and desist. And Lacey mentions how Michelle pushed Jesse through a window. I said, you're not telling us what this has to do with you. So basically, you sent Michelle a cease and desist because Jesse told you that Michelle was a certain type of way, and you were foolish enough to believe the man. Now, I know everybody got a past, but you don't just believe everything somebody tells you about their past relationship. You weren't in it. You weren't in it. And you have to assume that there's a reason that they broke up. It takes two to be together. It takes two to not want to be together. I'm just saying. So I don't like that Lacey is making things more difficult, but she starts bringing up all this shit that has nothing to do with her and that happened before she was even with Jesse, such as a story Jesse told about Michelle putting him through a window. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think she put him through a window, but I do think that she pushed his ass and he probably fell into a window and it may have shattered. And that's okay. Okay. And I think it just goes to show how toxic Jesse and Michelle's marriage was. But I just don't understand why these two had to talk. Now, Michelle is single and actively in a divorce that she can't get out of because Jesse refuses to sign, because apparently he's financially irresponsible and he wants Michelle to pay some of his debt, is what I would imagine. Because why else would you not sign divorce papers? If Michelle truly is telling the truth and said, he can have it all, I don't care, then why isn't he signing? I feel like he wants her to take on his debt. I absolutely do. Because in Jesse's mind, he's probably like, well, I went into debt for her anyway. You didn't have to do that. That was a choice. That was a choice. There's been a lot of times I've wanted to do stuff or travel when me and my husband could not afford it. And he will tell me, we can't afford this shit. We ain't going. And that's okay. Because if you actually love your spouse, they'll be okay. But I feel like Jesse just was someone not willing to say no and might have put himself into a lot of debt and all of that. But I don't understand it. But I'm looking at Lacey like, you don't have a right to be telling this woman anything about her marriage in the past. So everything blew up. They go to bed. They wake up the next morning, and Tom Schwartz, dumbass, is talking about he had a sex dream about Lala. I said, Schwartz, not now, Schwartz. Not now, Schwartz. Not now. Like, whose idea was it to bring Tom Schwartz on this show? Whose idea was it? I'm not trying to be mean. Schwartzy's funny. I don't mind him, but I've never cared for him on the show. I think his time is up. I think Katie's time is up. Stassi's getting her revive. I don't really care for Stassi based on the racist comments she made and then the attitude she had about having to be accountable for them while she was pregnant. Bitch, what about the racist Black women that were, what about the women you offended with your racism who were Black, who were pregnant? Like, girl, bye. Privilege is screaming. But I don't care for half of the Vanderpump Rules staff, like, cast on this show, especially Lala. I thought I would like Lala on this show, but she does not fit. I don't care about the sex stream, but Katie Maloney did speak out on a podcast that Dana, who was on this show for like a season, it is very thirsty, runs. And Katie was kind of like, it's weird that Lala was joking about it and things like that, but honestly, Katie is an impossible friend who is never satisfied. She's a miserable person that's always looking to be angry about something. Katie's beautiful, but it just seems like she's kind of a bah humbug type of person as energy, you know, reflects. So there's that. But moving on, Luke and Kristen, they talk, they work their issues out. I'm not going to go over their talk. You can tell they love each other. They want to make things work. I just hope Kristen seeks out postpartum help. I'm not going to keep talking about it. The next day, the group has a planned group activity to go to a safari park. And Nia is frustrated because she has to breastfeed. I know a lot of people on the internet are having empathy for Nia because she is a new mom. She has 4 kids under 4. But let me explain something to y'all. Let me tell y'all something about minority, not just Black people, the minority races, how we do our babies. You gonna be breastfed and having your breast milk, but trust and believe, pumping and putting that shit into the freezer and then into a bottle and giving that bottle to the baby is a thing. She says her daughter will not take a bottle. That's on you. Go to a nurse, keep giving her that bottle. I had a friend who went to the ER when she stopped breastfeeding because her daughter would not take a bottle, and they helped her and found a way. She was there for like almost a day and a half, and they actually helped her. There are people dedicated to that, especially here in California. So I'm looking at Nia, and I get your frustration, baby, but you have to film a show. You have to move around. You got to drive, and that it's harder when that baby is fully dependent on you. You need to start working harder to get that child to take a bottle. This is ridiculous. But also, you could have stayed away for this activity. It's hot as hell in San Diego. I don't know if you guys know, San Diego, out of every state and city in the US, gets the most sunshine in the US. San Diego has over 300 days of sun with no rain and no cold. So they probably knew it was hot, especially being they live in the valley. I just feel like they should have prepared. But this time, Nia kind of came into it frustrated. Her and Danny are bickering in front of the group over the baby. I just feel like, girl, put that baby on a bottle. But it made everybody else uncomfortable. My husband and I are not ignorant people. So like there have been times we've gone out with people, especially my husband. He's a Sagittarius. They can be childish sometimes, and they don't know how to see beyond themselves sometimes. Like, but even he understands, like, we don't need to just be arguing in front of other people. I despise when couples do it and think it's so rude. Like, nobody wants to be in that. Keep that shit to yourself or stay home. But I feel like with Danny and Nia, the disconnect on this trip has been he wants to have fun and be free because he's always working. And then he comes home to kids and her. And then she wanted to spend time with him and have fun. They both have different like goals and agendas, and I feel like that's why they keep bickering. But something that Danny said to Luke that I thought was good, but also a red flag for him is like whenever him and Nia have a problem, they go to a counselor. You shouldn't have to go to a marriage counselor for every single time you have a big problem. Like there has to be some effort for them to work stuff out on their own. That's just my opinion. But they were making everybody uncomfortable. It was hot. But after the group goes ziplining, Danny and Nia could not do this, obviously. Michelle and Lacey talked. Michelle pulled Lacey aside, and she explained that she had anger towards Jesse because they had agreed as parents to not introduce their daughter to anyone. And then he introduced her to Lacey. And Michelle also explains that she left the marriage for a reason. And I don't know. She told Lacey if she wants to co-parent, then not to trigger her. It does sound like Jesse's a problem, but Michelle is a liar as well. You say that you and Jesse agreed that you're not going to introduce your daughter to anybody, which Jesse told us last season, yet you still introduced your daughter to Aaron. So Michelle, stop with the bullshit. If you're going to complain about Jesse, make sure your shit don't stink as well, because you literally, that was his whole complaint last season. No one would be introduced to our daughter, but you had his daughter living with a whole man. Also, you're yelling at him because the daughters met Lacey. If I was a mom, I'd rather my daughter meet Lacey than a man, because a man is 10 times stronger than a woman, and a man has parts on him that can be used to cause my daughter trauma for the rest of her life. Yes, I'm that paranoid. So, Michelle, shut up about that. It doesn't matter. And I feel like that's why Lacey was just kind of sitting there, because it's like, you really talking to me about some shit that you didn't respect either? It goes both ways. Michelle does give, she wants to get away with what she gets away with, but you cannot do that. Regardless of how you feel about Jesse, that's the father of your kid, and he has just as much a say as you do. Don't let these women make you think that the mom is just the sole person to make decisions and things like that. There are great single fathers out there. There are men out there who even after a divorce want to be involved. I do feel like Michelle wants her divorce and is being a little impossible, but she explains all this to Lacey, and it sounds like Jesse's a problem overall, if I'm being honest. But this is why, if you're dating somebody that has kids, even if you have kids yourself, just stay out of the baby mama, baby daddy drama with the kids. It should be as simple as, this is who I'm dating. I've been with them for this long. I want them to meet our child. But before that happens, I want her to meet you. That's what should have happened with little Isabella. But both of her parents, to me, are some fucking idiots, because neither of them did that. Michelle just moved the daughter in with Aaron. Talk about, that was my friend. It's okay. No, it's not. And Jesse got his girlfriend running around sending out legal paperwork, telling people that the ex-wife pushed him through a window. I wouldn't want my daughter around someone who's doing that either. So I'm just looking like Jesse and Michelle are both wrong. We're on season 3. The divorce and the marriage was done season 1. Can we please move it along? I don't care about this. Either get them off of the show, or production threaten one of their jobs if they don't finalize this divorce. And I promise you, especially with Jesse, because he seemed thirsty for fame, that this divorce will resolve. Okay, if Bravo or Evolution Media, whatever company is responsible for this show, threaten Jesse and Michelle and say, you need to be divorced or don't come back on the show. I'm getting tired of Bravo compared to other networks. Like, Bravo has a really bad problem of keeping people on a show who are getting divorced for years and years and years. Like Kenya Moore. She was going through a divorce that took years and didn't want to barely talk about it. Ashley Darby, getting a divorce for years, didn't want to talk about it. Dorit Kemsley, getting a divorce that's taking a little longer, but they're finally moving it along. But when she does talk about it, she lies and makes everybody's life a living hell. People like Kyle, who it was very clear something was wrong in her marriage, and she's getting a separation that will probably lead to divorce, but she doesn't want to talk about it and has been doing it for years. If people are going to be divorced and separated for years, Bravo, get them the fuck off our screens. We stop caring. Talk to us again when they get a divorce and bring them back and save the money. But to leave people on here like this, and then we get this same redundant, annoying ass drama, please do something about it. We're tired. We're tired. We ready to throw a tomato. But moving forward, Nia announces that once they're back at the house after the zoo, the group had a good day. So Nia announces to everybody that they're going to do a little drag pageant show. It's giving y'all copying Vanderpump Rules. Go back a couple seasons to where Tom Sandoval, Schwartz, and Jax was arguing in drag. Please stop trying to remake stuff. And yes, this is a spinoff of Vanderpump Rules, but we don't have anybody from Vanderpump Rules who was an OG. Lala joined in later seasons. We have Kristen, but I just found it a little weird, the activity, but whatever. They dress up in drag. Danny was being extremely critical of Nia. He was being difficult. You could tell he was drunk and trying to joke, but the joke was coming off as obnoxious. I did see the effort in him trying to joke, but I think Nia was just annoyed, and it's the end of the day. He was pressuring her, saying stuff like he wants to win. She asked him if he wanted a full face of makeup. He was like, why are you asking me? You're the artist. I said, oh, Lord. And you could tell it was getting to her. And Lala was walking around and people, in the house could hear. He was making stuff difficult this whole trip. Nia, we would respect y'all more, and you could probably take the spotlight from people who bring nothing, like Lala, like Jasmine and her girl. I don't know why they're there. They're fucking annoying and bring nothing. Michelle, like there's a lot of people on this cast who bring nothing. Janet and Jason do not show us anything of their life. If we really keep it real, we don't see nothing. We see them in their house in that same playroom they got doing stuff or prepping for their kid, but we don't never see him going off to work or her talking about his work or anything like that. So I just feel like I want Danny and Nia to really talk about what's going on in their marriage, because it's obviously something. Because then if you talk about it, you're not giving other people ammo to say anything. There's those secrets you have to worry about, but there's obviously serious cracks in this marriage. I think they probably just are very attracted to each other and still have like love and a friendship within their relationship. But I worry that eventually it won't be enough. And fun fact, whether y'all want to admit it or not, Psychology and statistics does say that kids do make it harder to have a relationship. Marriages are more likely to fail when children are introduced to relationships, and the same for just regular relationships. So they have 4 under 4. I imagine they probably haven't connected with each other in a hot minute. But he's going off on her and telling her to get the hair together. And he was doing too much. And Lala ends up coming in and told him she felt triggered. She didn't like the way he was talking to her and wanted him to stop. And she apologized to Nia for getting involved into their marriage. I appreciate Lala for saying something to Danny, or saying something about what was happening. But baby, there's going to be a lot of situations where you're triggered. You're a single woman on a show about married people. You don't get to go off on everybody's husband just because you triggered. Now, what Lala said to Danny was right, and he needed to hear it. However, right message, wrong deliverer, if y'all get what I'm trying to say. Because Lala does give someone that ever since her breakup with Randall, the bitch is bitter towards men and has an obsession with the black men right now. It's just what it gives. I don't care. Y'all can cancel me, fight me, whatever. I don't think Lala's racist or anything. I just think right now she seems to have an affinity and enjoy black men, which is fine. And Randall Emmett didn't work out. She was a gold digger gone wrong, and it did not work out. He's a pervert. Lala, instead of commenting about Danny and being triggered about how he treats other people, maybe you should talk about on this show why you did not feel triggered when you were aware of Randall Emmett being a little mini Harvey Weinstein mixed in with a little bit of Diddy. You want to talk about everything but that. Talk about it, Miss Lala. So I just feel like, Lala, you're going to say stuff, talk about your own life, but I did appreciate her apologizing to Nia and standing up for Nia, because I feel like as women, we do need to stand for each other. Like, there's a lot of women that will hear their friends in a room getting beat and not walk in and do something. There's a lot of women that see their friends go through something with a man and not help them. So I do think it's nice that Lala spoke up, and Nia stayed quiet for a reason. Nia stayed quiet for a reason, and Danny did not like that. And Nia said she is not going to defend Danny against Lala when she was telling him the same things, saying, I do not like this. I do not find this funny. I feel dismissed and disrespected. And he kept on carrying on. So if you want to keep on carrying on when I'm telling you that I don't like what you're doing, husband, then when somebody comes and checks your ass, then I'm going to sit quietly. Since you know how to carry on, then carry on and defend yourself. You don't need my help, sir. So I understood Nia. And some people may feel like, wait, Mrs. Best, you're married. Aren't you supposed to defend your spouse all the time? No. No. You can defend your spouse, but if we in this public space and you're publicly embarrassing me and publicly disrespecting me, which Danny was doing, no, I'm not going to help you. Fuck you. You'll be all right. We could talk about it later in counseling, since they like to go to a counselor every time they have a problem. I feel like Nia also did that because she know he drunk. She knows her husband better than anybody else can know a husband. I feel like Nia did that shit because he was drunk. And nobody can make me feel differently. I think that he gets drunk often. Not often like every day, but I think that when he does drink, he's always like this. Some people just can't have liquor. Like, even if they don't drink a lot. I got a friend who, when she drinks, she changes, or she just don't drink. She smokes, she stands to the side, she smoke her cigarettes. Sometimes she'll hit the weed, but she don't drink, and that's okay. But Nala announces to the whole house that she feels triggered. And Danny fucks up. He mocked her. It was like, oh, Miss Triggered. And he starts making fun of her, and she went off. I respect that, actually, for Lala to go off. You don't make fun of anybody being triggered. If someone tells you that they are triggered and you continue keeping on fucking with them, then whatever you get, you deserve. If someone says they're triggered, even if it's your enemy, unless you're really fighting for like a cause that matters, such as your children, your reputation, any of that, leave them alone, Daniel. You can't just go around fucking with people. And also, you got a lot to say to these women, Danny. I still love Danny and Nia. I do. But I wish the energy Danny had with Lala, he would have had with Jason when his wife was doing the most. That's who Danny needs to get aggression out at. I feel like Danny was acting a fool this weekend because, one, he can't handle liquor. I actually think he's a lightweight. And two, I think he has a lot of hidden aggression and anger he hasn't let out about the situation, because what Janet and Jason was that bad. I think it's irresponsible of Bravo to allow Janet and Jason to continue to be on this show and perpetuate this narrative about Daniel. But then I also think it's irresponsible of Danny to come on this show and continue to drink at all, knowing the accusations that were made. Like, even though, yes, you shouldn't have to change your behavior just because of what someone else said, if it really did impact your reputation and your mental health to where whenever you drink it's coming up again, then do what you got to do. But this episode was a lot. I know the colorless crowd watching this was like, oh my God, at this. Let me know you guys' thoughts. If they differ from mine, that is totally okay. You do not need to share the same opinion as the YouTuber that you are watching. Who wants to always just look for yes men? That's no fun. But I love all of y'all. Thug life to everybody watching. You are all fabulous thugs. Look up Thug Life and why I say it and why it's tattooed on me. It's actually an acronym in a very famous poem by Tupac. Look it up. I encourage you all. It could be a little Sunday homework. Updates for the channel that you guys should be aware of. James from the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel. I've been getting a lot of DMs about what is going on with his channel. You guys, we have a joint channel and we have separate channels for a reason. I am happy to give you updates, but I can only tell you so much. James does have an Instagram. It is at It's Me, James Jackson. Please see the community post that I did post on my channel. He is moving. He's going to be away from YouTube until the month of June. I don't know if he's coming back June 1st. He's saying that he is. He's kind of up and down with schedules. So I would just encourage everybody to subscribe to his channel, ring the bell so you don't miss notifications. But he will not be on my channel either during this time because he is moving. He has to set up internet, studio, all of this stuff. But Mrs. Best Reviews, as y'all know, the show does not stop. So in the meantime, I will continue covering the shows that I do cover. I will not be picking up any of the shows that James covers, such as The Love and Marriage Huntsville, Bell Collective. Y'all know I hate them shows anyway. I will be watching, but I will not be picking them up. Any shows that James covers, such as Housewives of Atlanta, Love and Marriage Huntsville, Bell Collective, Birmingham, those are shows he was actively covering. Kiwan J TV, JB says what? Shayna _MCD, Miss Kira Speaks, Tamika's Den. These are all incredible content creators that I always link in the description of my video. They cover a lot of the shows that James will be missing. But other than that, you guys, Mrs. Best Reviews will be back live again on Monday, May the 18th. We will be going over the Housewives of Rhode Island, as well as episode 2 of 90 Day Fiancé. Other updates this Wednesday on May the 19th, Bravo has a new show called In the City. It is based in New York. I will be covering that show, so be on the lookout for that. My review for that show may come out a little bit late because I am going to be traveling this week. My birthday is Friday, May 22nd, so I will be traveling. But y'all know travel don't stop me. Y'all done seen Mrs. Best go live from Cancun, Mexico, from Hawaii, on the island of Oahu. I enjoy doing what I do, so I will be here. The final announcement is there is a new show that Netflix will be doing called Calabasas Confidential. It features Nepo babies of Hollywood. Nepotism are the kids that are born into fame and wealth. I will be covering that on my channel as well. And scripted shows we're adding are going to be The Shy, which premieres on May 22nd, as well as the Netflix show, which was produced by the producers and creators of the show Power. It is called Nemesis. I will be covering that as well. So other than that, y'all, I appreciate y'all for watching my review of The Valley. I hope y'all like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what we're doing. I thank y'all and appreciate y'all. And I'll see you next time for another review. Adios, beautiful people. Jumbo.